All right, we have rolled over to 7 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and call to order the City of Sherwood Planning Commission regular meeting for February 22nd, 2022. Call roll, Vice Chair Kai.
Present.
Commissioner Widola.
Present.
Commissioner Bance.
Present.
Commissioner Giles.
I am here.
All right, we are all present and accounted for. We're going to go into our consent agenda, which is the approval of the February 8th Planning Commission work session and regular meeting minutes. And I have two edits that I would like to put before the commission before we vote on that. On the first page under housing choices in the second paragraph, it said that I raised a concern regarding the condominium process, and my actual concern was regarding the PUD process for cottage clusters going on to individual lots.
Noted.
And then under the public hearing on next page 5A, I would like it clarified that I concurred with Commissioner Widola's recap of our conversation and that it did not impact my ability to act impartially for the hearing and that I intended to participate. And those are the only two edits that I had. So I would entertain a motion if no one else has any edits or changes.
I move we approve the consent agenda with the noted changes from Chair Simpson.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda as edited. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Council liaison announcements. I see Councilor Scott is on the line this evening.
Good evening, Commission. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great, I'll be brief. I know we have a lot on the agenda tonight. Council met last Tuesday. Two particular items of note. We approved a supplemental budget for FY22. And we passed the residential chicken ordinance on our second reading through a unanimous vote. So for any citizens interested in having chickens, there is a permit application and permit process available for that, or will be very shortly. I'm not sure if it's in effect immediately or within a certain amount of time, but very soon. We do have another city council meeting next Tuesday, 7 o'clock, same time, same channel. And you can see the agenda will be posted on the SherwoodOregon.gov website within the next day or two. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Councilor Scott. Staff announcements. Miss Erica, do you have staff announcements for us this evening? You are muted. Did we lose Erica?
Sorry, I am here. I am playing a little IT at the same time.
Okay.
It's just a quick couple of announcements here. Tomorrow, we have a Sherwood West CAC and TAC meeting. The TAC meeting is from 2 to 4, and the CAC meeting is from 5:30 to 7:30. We are holding a council work session next Tuesday, March 1st, to review the House bill work that we're working on for residential standards. That'll be the first council work session on this item. And then we have this item going to Planning Commission for your first hearing on March 8th. And so we are currently working on a memo and finalizing all the edits. And we will have that packet out to you by the end of this week. So you can get a head start on what you've already reviewed.
Thank you.
Yep.
So if you want to listen as an audience to the council work session? Are we as commissioners able to do that? Do we just reach out to you ahead of time?
Yes.
Link.
Yes.
I think since their work session's on the 1st and we're going to hearing on the 8th, if someone has an opportunity or has interest, that would be good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, community comments. We have community comments are limited to those items not already on the agenda. Eric, do we have anybody sign up in advance for community comments?
No.
All right. Then we are going to move to public hearings. And the first public hearing, I'm going to, based on my conversation with Eric a few moments ago, read the revised public hearing script for this. The public hearing on case file LU 2021-009 MM Cedar Creek multifamily development is now called to order. At the request of the applicant, the applicant has requested a 4-week continuance. The staff has indicated there is no additional staff report and that there would be no applicant presentation. And because we had noticed this for a date certain of February 22nd, Eric, are we accepting testimony from persons signed up to testify this evening?
If we are continuing to a date certain, my understanding is that we don't need to accept testimony, but we can at the next hearing. And we do have legal counsel Spencer on the line as well, who it'd be good to have Spencer confirm that.
Yes, that is correct. To do that, what you'd want to do is continue it to a date and time certain in the future. And by doing it on the record at this time, that would serve as the notice for the continued hearing in 4 weeks' time.
And persons in favor of the application or opposed of the application would then be notified that they have the opportunity to submit additional written testimony or testify at the date certain.
Yes, this would serve as that notice to them, and they could.
That's what I'm trying to do. And now I'm free-forming my script that I'm supposed to be reading. So we will not be having a staff report. The applicant has submitted a letter requesting the continuance, so there will be no presentation, and we will be continuing to a date certain. If the matter is continued to a date certain, this will be the only notice of that date you receive. I'm just trying to figure out how much of this I read. I think I just
You really don't need to go through the rest of the pre-prepared script. If there's a consensus in the commission to continue it, you could do it by motion.
Okay, at this time, I would ask members of the commission to disclose any ex parte contacts, bias, or conflicts of interest that have occurred since our last hearing for this matter. Indicate the nature and extent of that ex parte contact, bias, or conflict of interest, and indicate whether you intend to participate in or abstain from the hearing. Hearing none, does any member of the audience wish to challenge any planning commission member's ability to participate? Hearing none, we will then entertain a motion to accept the applicant's request for a continuance to March 22nd, which is the date certain. I think in the original email, it was requested to time and date certain of March 8th. However, we already have 2 hearings on that evening, and the follow-up email said that the applicant had agreed to the 4-week continuance and a tolling of the 120-day block.
Correct.
That is all correct.
Correct.
All right. So
I'm prepared to make a motion. I just had just 1 or 2 quick questions for legal, if that was okay.
certainly.
Spencer, just wanted to confirm. So at this point, as Planning Commission, we're not required to give a continuance necessarily, but because of the change in staff's recommendation, you're recommending that we allow the continuance. Is that correct?
My recommendation is that the commission grant the continuance just because of the applicant has requested it. And in an abundance of caution, my advice to the commission is to grant it because there's no harm in doing so. And because they've also granted the extension, we're not backed up against the 120-day clock in doing so. If you don't, there's an argument that you could proceed this evening, but they could make an argument then if they received an adverse decision that their substantial rights were prejudiced, but by granting a continuance, you take that argument off the table.
Okay, great. Just wanted to get some feedback from that. Thank you for that.
Is it possible for people in the audience who were going to give testimony to say something at this moment or not? I'm obviously very lay with regard to the planning process, but I just want to understand, you're not going to have the hearing right now. I get that, and they've asked for a continuance. I get that as well, but I just want to understand, how long does this go on? Because this has been going on for a number of months now.
So
Madam Chair,
we're not taking, I'm sorry, go ahead, Spencer.
Yeah, I'll just state this for the record. First of all, the floor is not open. The chair hasn't recognized anyone for testimony, and what they're discussing is not doing that. What I will state generally for the record is that under state law for quasi-judicial application proceedings, the city has 120 days to process and render a decision. The applicant has the right to grant extensions of that, and the total of all, the applicant has the right to request that, or the city does, and if the applicant grants it, it can go out to a total of 365 days. At the end of 365 days, a decision must be rendered by the city.
Okay, all right.
So at this point, we're not taking, yeah. So you have, as stated before, at the date certain has been selected as March 22nd. Written testimony can be taken during the next 4 weeks, and we will accept testimony at the March 22nd hearing.
Okay, yeah.
So if we can,
appreciate you taking my question. It's just,
I can't recognize you. We're in the middle of a
something
process.
I'm used to doing. Put it that way, being involved in a
Erica,
meeting like this.
Mark, go ahead. Mark, go ahead and send me an email, and I'll give you a call tomorrow or this week to discuss process.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Yep.
Chair Simpson, unless there's anything else, I'm prepared to make a motion.
please.
I move the Sherwood Planning Commission continue the public hearing on the application for Cedar Creek multifamily development project number LU 2021-009 until March 22nd, 2022 at the request of the applicant and at the applicant's granting of extending the 120-day tolling period.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded that we continue LU 2021-009 MM until March 22nd, 2022. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We are now moving on to public hearing LU. Let me flip my page and get my notes ready. Okay, so again, I have a script I will be trying to work into this. The public hearing on LU 2021-012 SPCUP VAR Sherwood Commerce Center is called to order. The public hearing this evening will be the conclusion of the Planning Commission's deliberation. All testimony had been received prior to this hearing. So there will be final comments by staff. No other testimony will be taken from the public or the applicant. And we'll have questions of staff, if any, by the commission. A decision may be made by the Planning Commission at the close of the hearing, or the matter may be continued to a time and date certain. If the matter is continued to a date certain, this will be the only notice of that date you receive. In reaching a decision on the application, the commission must consider whether the application meets the relevant approval criteria in the city's land use regulation. Those criteria are identified in the staff report. Staff report is available online and at City Hall. The staff report was accessible to the public 7 days prior to this meeting date. The testimony and evidence must address these criteria or other criteria you believe to apply to the decision. Please note, failure to raise an issue with enough detail to enable the commission, the applicant, and the parties an opportunity to respond to the issues precludes an appeal to the City Council or Land Use Board of Appeals on that issue. Also, failure by the applicant to raise constitutional or other issues regarding proposed conditions of approval, again with enough detail to allow the commission to respond to the issue, precludes an action for damages in circuit court. At this time, I would like to ask members of the commission to disclose any ex parte contacts since our last evidentiary hearing, bias or conflicts of interest. Please indicate the nature and extent of the ex parte contact, bias, or conflict of interest, and indicate whether you intend to participate in or abstain from the hearing. Hearing none, does any of the audience wish to challenge any planning commission members' ability to participate? Hearing none, we will move to final comments by staff and questions of staff, if any.
Thank you, Chair Simpson and Planning Commissioners. I will share my screen here 1 second. I have a note: host disabled participant screen sharing. IT, Erica?
Let me fix that for you. I'm sorry.
No worries, thanks.
It's a secret now, Eric.
All right, Erica, I think
Okay.
we're going.
I think we're good.
All right. Be given a very brief staff presentation on LU 2021-012 Sherwood Commerce Center. New testimony for the record. So after the initial hearing 4 weeks ago, we went into the 3-week open record period. So this is just a summary of the testimony received during the open record period. Just very brief, the staff recommendation is the same as in the original staff report. And staff finds that the application LU 2021-015 Sherwood Commerce Center will meet the requirements of City Code as described in the findings of the staff report dated January 12th, 2022, and the revised conditions of approval and exhibits B, B, C, C, and DD to the land use record. Those are revised City of Sherwood engineering comments and Washington County transportation comments related to timing of the conditions, but those have been in the record since the initial hearing. So therefore, staff recommends Planning Commission approve the application subject to the findings in the staff report and the revised conditions of approval. And the Planning Commission alternatives, you can approve the application based on the findings and conditions in the staff report and the revised conditions, approve the application with revised findings and or conditions, or deny the application with revised findings of denial. And that concludes the very brief staff presentation, but happy to answer any questions that you have on the application.
All right, so we are here with this application in front of us, LU 2021-012. I think, at first, I just want to thank the staff for all the hard work that they've gone through to get us to this point. This is one of 3 very complicated applications and a lot of moving targets. So it goes without saying that you've done an exceptional job, Eric, and I appreciate me personally having called you 2 or 3 times, just making sure I understand all the exhibits and all the information coming in. So I don't have any questions regarding the application itself. Any other commissioners have any questions regarding the application, the process, or what's before us this evening on this application? If not, we can entertain a motion.
So Chair Simpson, I'm ready to make a motion. I move the Sherwood Planning Commission approve the application for Sherwood Commerce Center, project number LU 2021-012, based on the applicant testimony, public testimony received, and the analysis, findings, and conditions in the staff report.
And do we want to add, as revised by the conditions of approval, BB, CC, DD?
Thank you. Sorry. And Eric, can you repeat that one more time? Sorry.
No problem. As revised in exhibits BB, CC, and DD for the conditions of approval. I can go back to the slide as well.
Yeah, if you could do that, that would be great.
Sure. Let me share my screen one more time. There you go. Should have it there.
Great, thank you. So I'd like to amend my motion to include Planning Commission approve the application subject to the findings described in the staff report dated January 12th, 2022, and revised conditions of approval in exhibits BB, CC, and DD.
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve LU 2021-012 site plan, conditional use plan variance for the Sherwood Commerce Center. Any further discussion? All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. And for those of
Thank you, Eric.
and for those watching, this was a lot of discussion last meeting, so this was not simple. It was
Last 2 meetings.
last 2 meetings. Yes, we had a lot of conversation, a lot of discussion, and we did vet this application out fully. And I am excited to say that this application looks like a great opportunity and looks like the Tonquin Employment Area Plan coming together the way it was conceived of years ago when it was brought into the urban growth boundaries. So it's exciting to see that parcel coming in. So thank you. All right. Next one, sorry. Last one we have is Oregon Streets. And I think, sorry, one second. Okay, so this one has been continued. I don't have a date certain yet. Is that June 28th?
Correct. Yes. So date certain of June 28th with a 4-month extension of the 120-day clock.
Okay.
So that new date would be September 5th, 2022. So June 28th and September 5th.
And again, that is within compliance of the 365 days for final hearing.
Correct.
Final
Correct.
decision. So,
Correct.
all right, public hearing on LU 2021-015 S site plan Oregon Street Business Park is called to order. At the applicant's request, this hearing will be continued to date certain June 28th. There's no staff report, right?
Correct. No staff report.
There is no applicant presentation at this time, correct?
That's my understanding, yes. Glenn is on the line. Glenn, if you had anything, please, and if you wanted to, I guess, give a presentation, please speak up. But I don't think we need to do a staff or applicant presentation.
Okay.
No, not at all.
Okay, so there will be, and persons wanting to testify in favor of the application or opposed to the application, this is your notice that the date has been continued to June 28th. Since the matter is continued to a date certain, this will be the only notice of that date you receive. At this time, I would like to ask members of the commission to disclose any ex parte contacts, bias, or conflicts of interest that have occurred since our last evidentiary hearing. Please indicate the nature and extent of the ex parte contact, bias, or conflict of interest and indicate whether you intend to participate in or abstain from the hearing. Hearing none. Does any member of the audience wish to challenge any planning commission members' ability to participate? Hearing none. We will entertain a motion for a continuance to the date certain of June 28th.
Chair Simpson, I'm ready to make a motion.
Okay,
I move the Sherwood Planning Commission continue the public hearing on the application for Oregon Street Business Park, project number LU 2021-015, until June 28th at the request of the applicant and at the applicant's granting of the extension of the 120-day tolling period.
is there a second? All right, it's been moved and seconded by Commissioner Widola that we continue LU 2021-015 SP Oregon Street Business Park to June 28th. Commissioner Bance, you have a question?
Yeah, what's the 365-day limit on this one? How, I think you said this is within that. I'm just curious when that ends for this one.
October, I believe it's October 7th.
Okay, sorry.
So October
lots
7th.
of room. Lots of room. Okay.
Yeah, so lots of room from now, although once we get to, once we get to that continued hearing, we still have some time, but it will be, it'll need to, we'll have to
Move
make
along.
a decision on it. Yeah,
Yep.
and once it comes back,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, thanks.
All right, any other questions? All right, all those in favor of the continuance, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right,
Thank you, Chair Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. Eric. I appreciate, again, all your time helping me understand what we were going to be doing this evening. And for those of you listening, all the planning commissioners are volunteers and we do the best we can. And these 3 applications, in addition to everything else we do, sometimes it's the first time we've ever seen a process like this. And so we are learning along with the rest of the public on how some things happen. So appreciate everybody's patience as I tried to work through yet another unknown. So again, the staff makes this possible.
Yeah, and Commission Chair Jean, I would also like to thank the staff, because I know we required them to do extra work on this to try to be every bit as fair and see as many ways possible and all the other stuff. And so I know that we've been adding a lot of extra work. So thank you. As a just a regular citizen of Sherwood, I appreciate the work that the city employees are doing. Thank you.
Yeah, not to say any one thing, but I think that's the place that the commission has in this community by being a go-between between staff and large-scale applications. We serve a purpose, and that purpose is to ensure the community good. And I think this is exemplified in what we've been doing over the past few months, not just with these applications, but with the comprehensive plan, the residential design standards, and the middle housing stuff. We have had our plates very, very full. This is probably some of the biggest workload and some of the biggest sets of binders I've had to carry around for any length of time. So it'll be a feather in our caps when we have this in our rearview mirror once and for all. So thank you again to the commission for your hard work. I appreciate that. So next is planning commissioner announcements. Are there any announcements that need to be brought forth at this time?
Chair Simpson, I just noticed to the rest of the commission that I will not be present on the March 8th meeting. I'll be out of traveling for work.
Okay. Thank you. March 8th. Erica, can you remind me what's at our planning commission hearing on March 8th besides middle housing?
We have a site plan review for the Sherwood Old Town Apartments.
Okay. So, very good. All right.
So the we still have all these huge binders. 2 of them I'm guessing we're keeping for a while. Do you want the one back that we approved tonight? Send all that stuff back over to you?
That's fine. We can reuse the binders. We use them just internally. Sometimes certain applicants request to pick them up, so I don't think this applicant has or will. But if you want to return them, you can. I don't think we need them though. We hope it ends up in the recycle. But if not, okay. If you give it back to us, then we can recycle the paper and then reuse the binder is what we would do.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, usually it's the one with Exhibit A has all the plans and all this stuff and then all the applicant material.
Right.
So,
right.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. But in terms of the paper, we don't really need it. It's just going to recycle. I think the binder is probably what we would reuse. Yeah.
Okay.
So is that true? I guess my concern would be we were told to send the plans back in case it's appealed.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So for this one.
I think as a general policy, it would be good to turn them back into city for any.
I appreciate that point. I think that's a good point. So yes, do you guys have I don't know exactly how we coordinate the pickup and drop off, but I think that would be good for this one to just make sure we have them, to make sure we have enough copies for city council if it goes to city council.
And then because the last one we did is going to be continued for 4 months, I would
the whole thing's going to change.
I would prefer to return everything to city staff and have it redelivered with the proper order. I mean, I may keep the one binder with this, but if I can do the Exhibit A and the plans so that you guys can resend them with relevant information. That's best for.
We can do that. We'll coordinate pickup.
Yeah, I think you can return the Oregon Street Business Park and Sherwood Commerce Center. I'd probably recommend holding on to Cedar Creek Plaza. That's coming up next month again.
Okay.
And yeah.
Okay.
That's just the exhibit binder with all the plans and stuff. We don't need see, we originally had this one big fat binder that had all three with your staff reports in them.
Oh, right.
Do we need that too for Cedar Creek as well? Or are you going to reissue all that stuff again in a month?
I would recommend, so that has the original staff or the revised staff report. I'd probably hold on to that.
Okay.
The back pages of the staff report of the other stuff, we could probably reprint that if, when we need to for city council. So you can recycle that or whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I think it's
you don't need the staff reports and stuff for the other ones though.
We can reprint those. I think the applicant submittal is what we're after to pass on.
You got it.
Yeah.
Sweet. Reuse and recycle as much as we can.
It is.
This from the person who asked for everything to be printed out and delivered to me because I want it on paper, but I do recycle everything. So.
Yep.
All right. Any other announcements or questions?
Let's make sure that anytime we have 3 hearings, it's we do it like this tonight.
All right.
Yeah, half an hour or whatever it was. Pretty slick. The last time we did 3 hearings was 1 a.m. almost 12:30 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any word on back to in person, or are we just waiting for the state to lift the mask guidelines before we consider that?
I think we're waiting for the state to, lift their guidelines and then proceed as
Council does.
city council proceeds. Mm-hmm.
All right. Oops. I was closing my packet and heading out to get an ice pack for my foot. So
better let you go then.
I better go ahead and are there any other announcements or staff comments before we adjourn? All right. Well, thank you again. And we are adjourned.
Thanks. Good job.